go into a year with a vision. Yes, you go into a year with goals and strategies and tactics and all of that good stuff. But I tell you at the beginning of every year, you're going to have adversity, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have opposition, you're going to have contradictions, you're going to have crises, you're going to have all these things in your life, and you're going to have to navigate those things to get to your larger vision. And I think that's the thing that really differentiates me from so much of the hogwash that we hear out there from so many of the gurus today. And so, as a pioneer, I understand that all progress comes at a price. You know, this week has been such an amazing week. I was featured in Bold Journey magazine, and they did a big interview about me. I believe it's the most powerful interview I've done to date, and a lot of people are sharing feedback with us and saying they believe it's the most powerful interview I've done. I'm always authentic and transparent, but the older I get, the more emphasis I put on speaking about the failures, speaking about the deep inner battles, speaking about the great crises and things that have happened in my life that have helped shape who I am today. Because everybody doesn't understand that. Some people see the books, they see the magazines, they see the influence and all of those things, and they make a lot of assumptions. And then there are other people that really know me, and they know the journey and everything that has contributed to the person that you see today. And this was a great opportunity for me to really speak, and I hope you'll go read it. You can find it. It's pretty much on all of my social media channels. Go find a link and just read this magazine interview. It's so powerful. I got the chance to talk about identity. And you know, years ago, I wrote a book called Significance on Identity. It's one of my best selling books to date, and it has changed so many people's lives around the world. But identity was such a big thing in my life, and we have to get this piece together if we're going to be great leaders and great human beings. And so I just had the opportunity to share from my heart at length about identity and some of the things I've learned. And so many people say it has been so helpful to them. And the reason I know this is because I've had to be a pioneer. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, there are people that are coming into this space now, and I say, you are the recipient of all of the pioneering work that I had to do to open up this lane. I said, because I opened it up, now you can just easily come through. But years ago when I was starting out, there was no lane for this. There was nobody doing this. It was odd. It was weird. People didn't understand it. How are you going to build something on this? How can you create a business around this? Um, is there really any value to what you're doing? Well, I think the value has been proven at this point, but when you are a pioneer, you're going to pay a price, and it's going to come at a heavy cost to you, and you got to be willing to pay that price. And if you're looking for a consensus to advance, you will cripple your life. Too many of us are looking for consensus. We want everybody to agree with us. We want everybody to like us. We want everybody to love us. Well, let me just save you some years and some heartache. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to agree with you. Everybody's not going to support you. Everybody's not going to agree with you. And with that knowledge, you're going to have the ability to keep going. And you're going to have to know how to love, trust, and believe in yourself if certain things are going to happen in your life. You don't need everyone to agree with you. You need the audacity to reach for more in your life. And I believe with all my heart that it's time for all of us to reach for more and to go after more in our lives. We've all dealt with self-doubt. It's the little voice that attempts to tell you what you can't have, what you can't do, and what you'll never accomplish in your life. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to face that voice in my own life over the years. However, every time it tries to speak to me, something rises up in me and empowers me to silence it. And you have got to learn how to silence the voice of self-doubt in your life, because if you don't learn how to silence it, It will become so loud that it will drown out your voice. It will drown out your vision and everything that is possible for your life. And after all, I have come too far to allow a false narrative to interrupt my progress. I've learned that all self doubt finds its root in a self limiting belief. Write that down. All self doubt finds its root and its origins in self limiting beliefs. And by the way, today we're talking about believe, persevering to seize what's possible. I know I just kind of delved in, but once I start teaching, I get in a certain zone and a flow, and I wasn't going to break my flow. So we're talking about believe, persevering to seize what's possible. Every self limiting belief is born out of a self limiting perception. And, a lot of you listening to me are battling with self limiting beliefs and self limiting perceptions. And you battle it year after year, decade after decade. And many of you, it has become a lifelong battle in your life. And I understand, I've been there. I've had to fight through so many self limiting beliefs, so many self limiting perceptions in my life. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you are going to have to master these things if you're ever going to fulfill your purpose or realize your greatest potential in life. What I'm trying to get you to see is that if your internal narrative is wrong, then all your outcomes are going to be wrong. And a lot of people are like, I don't understand, Jamel. I'm reading, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm going to events, I'm making affirmations, I'm trying to be positive. And what people don't understand is that those are actions that you're taking, but most of us, are not doing the healing work. And so you can make affirmations, you can try to think positive thoughts, you can try to join all the great communities and do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I know from decades of experience is that you got to do the inner work. And a lot of us don't want to do the inner work because we know that it's going to require us to get uncomfortable. It's going to require us to explore places within ourselves that we don't want to explore. We're going to have to confront things about our lives we don't want to confront. We're going to have to face truths about ourselves and our lives that we don't want to face. And if you don't ever do that work, you're going to live your life in a never-ending cycles of frustration and failure and defeat. And so at some point, you got to begin to do the work that's going to help you to create the life that you want to live. Your internal narrative shapes your thoughts, dictates your emotions, and ultimately defines your reality. It is impossible to separate a person from his system of beliefs. Write that down. It is impossible to separate a person from a system of beliefs. And so I believe emphatically with all my heart that you are the sum total today of the decisions that you've made, and you are the sum total of the thoughts that you are thinking. And I always tell people, if your thoughts have brought you here, your thoughts can always bring you to a greater life and a greater reality. And what one thing can you change that has the ability to change everything about your life? You always have the ability to change the way you think. It's one of the reasons I write so many books, because I'm always so full, and no matter how much time I spend with a group of people or audience, it's never enough. And so writing gives me the opportunity to keep pouring and to share my thought patterns and processes with you so that you can begin to win those battles in your life and get the victory. And so it's impossible to separate a person from their system of belief. And so a lot of times we're trying to figure out why things are the way they are. And a lot of times things are the way they are because we think the way we think. And when you say that to a lot of people, it's like, oh no, Jamel, that's not it. But it is it. Your thinking has contributed to every season and every cycle in your life. And when I learned that lesson probably 20 plus years ago or so, it radically revolutionized my life. It changed everything. It's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about the work that I do and the message that I'm delivering to you, because I know that everything begins in the mind. And if you don't get mastery over your thinking. You'll never get mastery over